Sid Smith in the green and white car goes to the inside line to try to defend second place, but then leaves the door open on the outside. He's under attack then from Hopkins and others, and there's drama and a big lose in the middle of the pack. Lots of tar smoke. Jenkins it is who's gone around. He did get collected, others scattering avoidance. Cold tyres, new car. That's not going to end well either, as sliding back onto the road is Jonathan Beeson.
Round the outside of Seb Hopkins. Now watch as it come into the first corner. Who's the contact with? That's Sid Smith in front. Yeah, I think it was just Seb Hopkins on the right-hand side, got into the back of Will Jenkins. Really unfortunate. Will Martin's away, but as Will Jenkins turns in, he just clips the front, doesn't he? And look at the smoke screen that everyone had to drive through. It didn't know where the car was, did they?
So let's try and see where the damage comes for Henry Dawes. Safety car's been deployed, by the way. Henry Dawes just clipped the back, didn't he? So that's where his damage came from. He'd made a bad start, actually, because bearing in mind that he was 8th on the grid, he was a long way back in the pack, down towards Redgate for the first time, but Rackstraw on the inside line breaks that fraction later, turns in. Wallace goes second, and he can't get the undercut coming out of the corner. And there's drama in the background. Sid Smith goes around, similar to what we had at the first corner of race 1.
Might be Will Martin tagged him as well with damage on the left front. I believe it was.
And there is the damaged car limping downhill. Is that our race 1 winner, Will Martin? It is! Well spotted, Tim. So Will Martin has got exactly the same damage as Henry Dawes.
Andrew Rackstraw keeps him out nice and wide so that he isn't able to make a cutback on the way in. And Rackstraw leads up. Now let's look. Oh, it looked like Sid Smith got tagged, I think, by Will Martin. Yeah. That's how it looked to me, anyway.
I'd agree with that. Martin's damage was done as they came into shot. So he didn't clip him as he spun. He tagged him into the spin. He gets hit again, but the front left damage was already done.
Yeah, very. It's a real shame. That's ruined both their races.
Yeah. But Matt Kyle Henney up the inside goes Mull Ryan on the inside line for Redgate, and 7th place should be his coming off the corner, but he makes contact there, and that puts Sam Harvey onto the grass, and he has to back out of that. Loads happening. Right, how did it all start? So Mull Ryan unwinds the steering, sort of heads into the path really there of Sam Harvey. They touch, but it was Harvey that came off worse. Onto the grass he goes. 3 minutes to go now. Big drama there, as off into the gravel has gone Alistair Weston. That's at Coppice, and he's done some damage. Pre-car racer a good few years ago, and here is the replay of Alistair Weston getting it wrong. It looked as though the front was damaged, but actually that replay suggests that he didn't hit anything. The damage has been done by him going through the gravel. So Hamilton makes a good start as well and gets up the inside line in the dark blue car, which is going to be in 4th place on the inside line. Trice leads, but there's contact, and it's Bradshaw that gets fired out wide. Whoops, big drama in the pack. Dan Zelos in the gravel. He got all sideways and with a bit of hip and shoulder was fired off. Go on, Dan, dig it out the gravel, but Bradshaw is stuck by the look of it. He is! Tom Bradshaw, a win and a 2nd place, and now he's out in the green and black car. He's alongside Bradshaw. There's the touch. Tom gets sideways. He tries to hang on to the slide. He goes out wide, and while he's having that problem, Dan Zelos is having his own moment, and eventually Bradshaw just runs out of momentum.
Yeah, it was a little bit strange there, actually, because the contact didn't look that big. OK, lifted him up, so he might have had, broken rear there. So that was what caused him to go off.
And Zelos and Hamilton, I think it was, that got together, and Dan Zelos was able to rejoin. But yeah, Matt Kyle Henney in the red and white livery further up the road is one to watch, and Jade Edwards, it all gets a bit crowded.
Yeah, so you see Kyle Henney just runs a little bit wide and clips the curb, comes back across the pack, and Dan Zelos has nowhere to go, and 3 cars straight away out the race. A bad day going to worse for Zelos this season, but we've got a replay here, so he's coming up to Druids. Is it going to be a little bit of contact? Got more on the inside here. Little bit of front contact. Jumped in the air. Yeah, kind of barged into the gravel and then decided to drive through it rather than sort of try and escape it. But because it's rear-wheel drive, once you're in that gravel, unfortunately, you're kind of stuck straight away. That was obviously brilliant, but was it hurting his tyres? And seemingly it looks like it might have been. And a car into the gravel, and that's Katia Loggy from the lead of her class. Gutted. Abby Eaton will be pulling her hair out in the pit lane, gutted for her. But Hannah Chapman now on the inside. Fair move. Should try and squeeze her a little bit. Onto the grass she goes, but they both survived that little sequence. We got a car gone around the outside of them both. There's now 3 abreast into paddock. They're going in nice and cleanly here, and then contact just on entry, just enough to push Katia Logi wide into the gravel. And she actually does a very good job at sort of semi-saving this here and not causing an incident where she comes back across the track. But yeah, again, side by side, just a little bit of contact, because these rear-wheel drives, so if you hit them in a certain area, the car goes light and it's very hard to save oversteer. If I was living near Porter and it was a snow day, I'd be getting him to drive me to work, because he knows exactly how to drive through the gravel there. So he just loses it on entry, rotation through the gravel, holds it really well. It's super, super heavy, deep gravel there, so he's done really well to get from the furthest point there all the way out. He just kept the traction nice and even all the way, steered into it, and I bet his eyes were looking for that bit of grass just up the road there, desperately trying to get to it, and so he did. A brilliant drive there, excellent.
But if you want to be a career GT racer, then here is a championship in which you can go and learn. Now, we're getting Amy Watts through, and then in the background, Karim Sekat having a moment. And just to rub salt into the wounds, he's been given a 5-second penalty for track limit offences. And there he is, facing the wrong way. Sorry, Will Jenkins, I should say, not Seb Hopkins, it was Will Jenkins. He makes contact with George Gamble, that unsettles the car, and around goes Will Jenkins. And sitting on the back of the yellow car of Ollie Jackson. White side up the inside of White, and he makes contact, and around they both go.
Oh, that was unfortunate. That was a messy mistake, wasn't it? Being very sensible here, just letting these two fight it out. Look down the inside, and a lock-up from Sid Smith, and they both go through now. Oh, no! Oh, George Gamble loses it. That was that same little touch on the front that spins the car.
Here's another angle of it.
Here's a better angle of it from the inside. Yeah, you could be right, David. He could have lost it on his own.
Max Coates has the advantage. Josh Stanton's purple car goes second. Ollie Jackson then drops down to third, and James Wallace with contact gets turned around. The race one winner has damage at the very first corner. He's gone bush on the inside. He eventually gets back onto the racetrack, but James Wallace's day has just turned upside down. So Josh Stanton crossed up even. Let's have a look. Comes up Woodham Hill, and the air gets under it, and up it pops. So Josh Stanton, very, very unusual to see that in a Carrera Cup race. We'll be on that lighting gantry. You can see the whistles of smoke out of Wallace's car. We are blast off. Wallace makes a good start, gets between, oh no, contact gets between Hopkins and also Angus Whiteside, and it's Hopkins that gets fired into the barrier.
Don't worry about the smoke, that's just hot brakes, but he gets a perfect launch. It was exaggerated. It's just that it's the rear wheels, because the rear wheels are slightly wider. The gap where they touch when you go through between two cars is on the rear wheel, and it was just the slightest touch there, and it fires off poor old Seb Hopkins. I mean, in all honesty, I wouldn't lay blame at James Wallace for that. That's a racing incident off the start line.
The RS Am class, great battle, race long with Oliver Meadows. The other class, oh dear, off the road there, look, has gone Paul Porter. That's down at Island Bend. Is that more demoralising for you as a driver? You know, you've worked so hard for virtually every lap, and then on the last one you lose out. Let's have that's Paul Porter.
Himself, it looks like.
Wow.
Did well actually not to collect anyone on his way through there, but that sums up Alton Park. What I was saying about the brakes is that it's really hard on the brakes, and you just got to take one little late break and you're running wide. And yeah, same again there. It's just, you can see the cars understeering, contact on the exit.
Still actually warming up. It takes 3 or 4 laps, even in these warm conditions, to get these Michelins. Oh, and a touch there with Rackstraw. They've interlocked wheels. Surely there's damage. Left front puncture for Wallace.
And Andrew Rackstraw drops down the order, but he does rejoin. Wallace tries to limp on, but I think you're right. It looks like there's too much damage can be made. This is Angus Whiteside's view. Look up the road. Contact's made already, isn't it? He turns through and gains 2 places.
Yes, he goes through. This is a better view of it. Rackstraw on the outside. I'm not sure if at what point they locked up and slid into each other, but or whether ABS. Looking back, it was a little bit of contact from Ollie Jackson, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So round goes Josh Stanton, and then he has to wait because there's a bit more traffic to come. So the contact's been made, the car spins.
This is an endurance race. I mean, you could say it's a sprint race, but and now Max Coates has gone round. This race is turning into a disaster for him.
A torrid time for Max Coates. Here you go. He was trying to go around the outside of Henry Dawes, booted it coming out of the corner, and around it went. And that's not like Max.
No, he was trying to tighten the line. Fair play to Will Hopkins. He had that move done, but it was a great braking manoeuvre. He did. Oh, big lock up. That's Gamble trying to get past White, and he's spun him round, and Rackstraw's gone round as well.
I think Rackstraw spun in sympathy, didn't he? So that's really bad news for Rackstraw for the championship, because he's going to hemorrhage places and points.
Gamble's locks up, but does. Oh, he's not quite alongside, is he? But yeah, the Rackstraw one.
I think Martin was up the inside of him. Will Martin had made a dive up the inside, and I wonder whether they made contact as well. Yes, look.
You're absolutely right. Well spotted, David. So, Colin Oakley, the clerk of the course, is going to be busy until late in the day here, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got 2 for the price of 1 there. Same corner.
Yeah.
There's the incident then that turns around Ollie White, and the second one that turns around Andrew Rackstraw.
That was the final attempt by oh, it was contact.
Yeah.
Between Sid Smith, and this was on the last lap coming off Clark Curve with him and Josh Stanton. I'm glad they both got to the flag.
Tough adaptation to Porsche racing after so many years of front-wheel drivers. Toft now lines up for a go on the inside. There's contact. Bradshaw is knocked sideways. Jacob Toft goes through, but he'd be well advised to give that place back.
He's driving as the crow flies and taking the scenic route. I don't blame him. I actually walked up the hill on Friday. Oh, we got a car off into the gravel there. Oh, you see who that is.
That is Dean Burden, is it not? 56, yeah. Dean Burden off at Clark. We're on the last lap anyway, so hopefully that can be covered by a yellow. Now, was he pushed or did he fall?
Just looks like he's out-braked himself ever so slightly, gone too fast into the corner and just simply can't slow it down. Past Summerfield, she'll be benefiting from this style of racing. So Katia on the outside, bit of contact from Porter, and they just clang wheels there. It just lifts the car up. So again, one of those things. He was alongside enough, but that bit of contact, wheel to wheel. Katia, you can see here, giving him plenty of room. He goes a little bit deep.
Yeah.
She cuts back. No harm done there. It's just literally that wheel-to-wheel contact, but they both kind of back out of it straight away, and it doesn't continue.
You said early on she'll sleep well tonight. They all will. It's a physical circuit. They're physical cars. They've had 3 races over the weekend, and Summerfield's wide, but Amy Watts has a moment of her own. It goes left, it goes right, and she slides across the road and ends up just in front of Katia Loggy, who decides that's the way to go, dodges around, and poor old Amy Watts, she has such a good run in that race, and now I fear she's a bit stuck. I thought for a moment it was Summerfield making a mistake.
Yeah, she's done this a couple of times. She gets a little bit of oversteer on the exit there, and she just sort of held the car a bit tight. Not sure why, whether her vision was impaired or something. She's trying to gain a position back and take advantage of that slow run onto the back straight here. Unfortunately not possible this lap, but they're now bunching right up behind him. We've got Toby tries contact into Ethan Hampton, and he goes round, unfortunately, but they both carry on.
They do carry on with possible damage to both. We'll wait and see what comes out of all of that. For the race lead, it is just Sam Harvey ahead of Jacob Thompson. More drama over at Luffield because
Slosh, maybe?
Yeah, possibly Jason Baker in the white car. Jodie Sloss returning to the championship. I think was in the other car as the leaders dive down. But we have the safety car called by Nigel Jones, the clerk of the course. Let's have another look. She gets into the back of Jason Baker's car. That was quite a whack, and he turns Jason around and damages Jodie's car as well.
Yeah, maybe a little bit deep and wide into exit of Brooklands, which then...
And the other purple car, Josh Stanton, is next in the queue. To the outside goes the yellow car of Jackson. Up the inside is Stephen Jelly, number 12.
Oh, Stephen Jelly just gets into the side of Josh Stanton. That can so easily spin the Porsche out.
Let's have a replay coming out of Druids. Watch Stephen Jelly on the inside. Just bounces off the side of Josh Stanton, who also bounces off Ollie Jackson. Not quite a secure pro-am. We'll double check at the end of the race as down towards the right hand of Hawthorns comes Oliver White with Ollie Jackson on the outside, and off the road goes Jackson, and around he will go. Jackson spins it all the way around. Engages first gear, rejoins the race as though nothing had happened, and even tries to fight back against Henry Dawes.
Jackson on the outside in the yellow car just gets a touch there, and that just puts him wide. Obviously on the grass he loses the grip, but fortunately not into the barriers in any way, shape or form, as another ex-touring car driver in the shape of Stephen Jelly goes past. Just got run out wide by Ollie White.
outside of Coates. He's ahead of Will Martin as he needs to be going into the first corner at Paddock. So Coates leads the way, but he's in Pro-Am, so the real pro fight is between Rackstraw and Martin as Ollie Jackson spins in the background. Martin goes to the inside and he's ahead of... Currently running in 7th overall and 2nd in class. That's enough to give him the title for sure.
Yeah, must do.
Oh,
we've got Ollie Jackson off at Druids.
Again. That's his 2nd spin of the race, remember, and he's 3rd of the day. He spun in race 1, he spun at Paddock on the opening lap, and Druids on the 2nd.
Well, if I didn't know you better, David, I'd say you were doing him down.
Well, often does things like this. Here's lap 1. Have a look at the yellow car on the outside. There may have been a bit of hip and shoulder. Yeah, that was contact. Josh Stanton getting involved, so that was the first drama. Yeah,
definitely not his fault. And then, of course, the driver's angry, and so the next one could be down to you as a fit of anger.
That's as they overtake for 2nd place. Will Martin going ahead of Rackstraw. Ollie Jackson rejoins, and there's the 2nd spin. He got himself onto the back of Carl Cavers and has a spin coming through the corner. This is what happened up at Druids. He goes to the inside of Carl Cavers, contact, and around he goes.
Yeah, just that little bit of touch. It nearly happened to Stephen Jelly in race 1 when you get a little push on the front of the car. Is that a bit of tyre rub or something coming out the back, or just cleaning up the tyre? He has a moment. It started very early. Bit of oversteer, overcorrected, and then through the gravel, but fortunate not to hit the tyres.
That gives Carl Cavers the class lead in AM. Now, what happens to Cotton? Where, if anywhere, is there contact? He's on the inside there, look, going into Paddock. And
it's contact with Bradshaw, front wheel to rear wheel. But he looks like he knows he's injured here, so it'd be interesting. So he's now on the grass. I don't know how he makes it to the gravel at the top of Druids. It's interesting. Don't seem to have maybe caught it. And then here's the secondary incident here. Onto the back straight. Yeah, contact, turns him round, and then the gravel round here is deep. So if you're going in there, you get your packed lunch out because you're not normally getting out.
Now let's have another look. So this is the high shot. There's the contact. Bradshaw up onto 2 wheels, isn't he? As he gets launched and goes way out wide. Cottam at that point knows he's got the problem. He pulls onto the grass. So we saw that bit. Yes, he heads up the hill.
He's got nothing on the front end there again, but as he then tried to keep going. Yeah, so he's thinking, I don't want to stop here, it's a long walk back, I'll try and keep going. He's got no front left, and he's just driven straight into the gravel.
Right.
I know there's a bar at the top of Druid, so maybe that was what he was aiming for there, I'm not sure.
And that is Tom Bradshaw feeling the contact, and straight away the panic must be, oh no, what's broken on my car?
Yeah, his brain now will be searching for, through the car what he can feel. Is anything broken? Is my steering off? What's the issue?